Well, hello there. It's Ron McCracken, and excuse my hand in the camera there, but just finished running and walking a little while ago. Want to make a short video about. Um, I just submitted an abstract for a workshop proposal to speak at the next NAMI Texas State Conference in November, and this time it'll be in person. Last time I spoke at the NAMI Texas State Conference last November, which was virtual. Plus side is you can attend from anywhere in the world. The downside is that it was virtual, but still it was a great event. Lots of wonderful speakers, tremendous opportunity and platform to share my story and uh, my mental health advocacy. And a couple months ago, I guess, when I got the first email about the NAMI Texas State Conference, that'll be this coming November. I believe it's the first weekend in November. It's going to be in Frisco, Texas. And about, I'm in Dallas, so that's about 30 minutes up the road from me. And I might even get a hotel room the night before I speak, if I'm chosen as one of the speakers. As I said, tonight, just a short while before the deadline, I've submitted my abstract for workshop proposal. And basically, I'm going to talk about sobriety and forgiveness and their role in recovery from PTSD. And as most of the people who have followed my videos and or my podcast know, that my PTSD came from the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013, and that was thrown on top of everything else I had going with depression and anxiety disorder and some other issues. And I didn't receive any therapy or counseling at all for 3 years after that. First one was terrible. Finally found a good therapist 4 years after the bombing. And excuse me, that's got some allergies going. But I progressed, as I stated in the abstract I submitted just briefly, that once I started cognitive behavioral therapy in August 2017, I was progressing, but still, there were still a lot of obstacles. Of course, these things always take time. We have to be patient with ourselves. But where I noticed the biggest differences and the biggest leaps, the biggest progress in recovery was after May 2019, when I started my sobriety, and probably I'd say within 2 months, I could notice a difference in my thinking. My thinking was much clearer, had more clarity of thought. That's a common thing with sobriety. And that really moved me forward a lot quicker in my therapy. But that combined with, that was the biggest difference. As effective as cognitive behavioral therapy is or can be, sobriety made a bigger difference. I'm going to look up for my presentation, if I'm chosen for my presentation, I'm going to look up actual scientific sources and evidence and all that stuff to see what all they have to say about it. But that moved me towards a little over a year after I became sober, that I was finally able to honestly forgive Jahar Tsarnaev, the Boston Marathon bomber, the surviving Boston Marathon bomber. His brother Tamerlan was killed a few days after the bombing. But just gathering my thoughts here. This is just kind of a random video. It was when I reached that stage, and I'm pretty sure that was July 2020. So took me more than 7 years to forgive him. and I've said this many times, felt like the weight of the universe off my shoulders. But those were key, and I think really no matter what the trauma is, especially if it's a person who caused that trauma for you, it's a little bit, might be a little bit different if someone, say, has their PTSD from a car wreck or something where they can't blame one particular person. But when there is one particular person or group of people responsible for your PTSD, then, and note what I said there, the people responsible for your PTSD, because you're not responsible for your PTSD as far as it's not your fault you have it. That's your body and mind reacting to that trauma, whatever it was. Whether it's being in combat, like a lot of veterans, of course, being in combat, or a rape, or a terrorist attack, or any number of things, that is not the victim's fault. But we do have to make every attempt to own it, and by doing that, we can start moving forward with it. I realized after I forgave him, that's when I realized how badly that had been holding me back, holding all that just seething anger, that boiling anger, and all that thirst for revenge was just holding me back. And I'm going to look up a lot of sources on all this and see what other case studies have to say about it. But the gist of it, though, and I don't have the title handy here, but essentially I'm going to be presenting a workshop on the role of sobriety and forgiveness in recovery from PTSD. And I think those are very important factors that often get overlooked, because a lot of times people focus on the medication, focus on the medications, focus on the therapy, and those can all be very helpful and everything. But I really don't think that you truly move forward until you achieve sobriety and forgiveness. And I'm holding off on sobriety and forgiveness, two very important things, and they make the peace sign. And understand too that forgiveness is a gift that we give to ourselves. And my therapist often says that people misunderstand forgiveness. Sometimes people think that, oh, you're letting that person off scot-free or whatever, and that's not it at all. That's why I emphasize it's a gift we give to ourselves. They're still being held responsible. So, for instance, the Boston bomber, he'll be in jail the rest of his life, of course, but it doesn't absolve them of responsibility. What it does is it just helps you process it a little more constructively and everything. So that's the gist of it. I hope that I'm chosen, because then I'll find out a few weeks into August. I think August 24th is when they notify us. I'll find out if I'm chosen or not. That'll give me a good 2+ months to prepare something really good. It's got to be just like last year, hour-long presentation approximately, with 15 minutes of Q&A after. So I want to look like I know what I'm talking about. Excuse me, got some hiccups there. All right then, and everyone, hope everyone's doing well. And if you're not, please reach out. And that reminds me, don't forget about, as of July 16th, we have a 988 emergency number. That's for mental health emergencies. It's a brand new number, 988. That's the 911 for mental health emergencies. Reach out. And remember what Jedi Master Yoda said, luminous beings are we. Have a good night.